All right, y'all, we're going to get started. I appreciate everybody coming. Real quick, my name is Chance Corbett. I'm the Interim Executive Director for Campus Safety and Security here at Auburn University, and I appreciate all of you taking the time out of your schedules to come, and hopefully some of the stuff we talk about tonight will be useful to you. The class tonight is Active Shooter Response Training, and we developed this course. I actually started developing it in late 2008. The reason we developed it was to, we were going around teaching other classes, emergency preparedness, but one of the classes I was teaching around the state was an advanced law enforcement rapid response training, giving law enforcement a best practices course on how to respond to incidents. And we sat there and said, it's great that we're doing this for the law enforcement, but what are we doing for the students, the employees, and other folks? So I come back and started developing this course. Through the times, was taught over 30,000 people plus, and hundreds of classes. We enjoy teaching it. We do not turn a class down. If students call and they want to put a group together, or employees, or we even do a lot of groups outside of campus, we make sure that we make this class available to them. And the great thing is we do it as an outreach in the university. We don't charge for that. So we think it's really good. I've got a couple of ground rules as we get started. One is keep an open mind. Okay, I'm going to say some things and you may say, well, I'm not real sure about that, but just keep an open mind for me. And the other is I'm going to ask you questions, and if you know the answer, just shout it out. If you don't know the answer, I want you to make it up, okay? Because it's going to keep you engaged. It keeps me engaged too, okay? The reason I'm trying to say that is because, some of this, a lot of times you'll sit in a class and it's kind of boring. That's not going to be this class, I hope, okay? I hope I'm going to keep you engaged and keep you going with it. In this department, we have several people that can teach this as well. Keith Walton's in the back of the room there. Keith teaches the class, and Lynn Littleton teaches it as our third backup. We've got others that can teach it as well. So again, glad you're here. So I'm going to jump right into it and ask you a couple of things, but I want to give you my background just a little bit real quick. I think it's important when you have someone instructing the class that you know a little bit about them. I started right out of high school with a sheriff's office, went through patrol investigations, and actually started on a SWAT team as a team medic. And the last 3 years I was actually the team leader for that team. I'm also a paramedic and a certified firefighter. So I've done a little bit of all of this stuff. And as I said before, I've taught law enforcement for years as well. The course, as we started developing it, was the best practices. What could we do? If I was in your shoes, what are the questions I would ask, or what can we do? So when we get started, usually what I start off by saying is, why are you here? Now, a lot of times when we teach this class, we're teaching it to groups of employees or students that are required to be there. I'm here because somebody told me I had to be here. But that's not really what I'm talking about. The reason we see you're here is so that we can provide you options that if something ever happens that threatens your safety, that you can make a decision. And the biggest word tonight is decision. Being able to make decisions. Can we agree that making decisions are hard sometimes? Can we agree with that? Can we agree you throw a little stress into it? It's a lot harder to make decisions, right? So if you've never thought about what you would do in certain situations, are you going to be prepared when it happens? Okay? I don't think we can ever be prepared for everything, right? But the best thing we can do is talk about it. Talk about it amongst ourselves, have a plan, take classes like this, and be the best prepared that we can. Okay? So we're going to talk just a second about the response of the police. Okay? This isn't a class about police, but I'm going to talk a little bit about how law enforcement are going to respond. So can y'all agree that law enforcement have a tough job? Okay? Y'all probably are thinking, well, I've got a tough job too, and I think, yeah, absolutely. But if you think about the job of law enforcement, they're getting the call to something that's happened, and they're getting that call based on maybe 1 or 2 phone calls, maybe more, and it's never the full message. It may be, I heard a gunshot, or I saw a man with a gun, or whatever it is, and they're having to respond to that and deal with whatever that call is without the full picture. I can tell you for years riding in a patrol car, the call that came in was never the call like it was when I got there. It was always different. So if you think about that, how they're responding to it, that's important for you, how you're going to respond to the incident as well. Okay? Knowing how they're going to get there. So we're at the university, so we're going to start a history lesson real quick, okay, y'all? Remember I said keep an open mind here. Anybody know what the picture on the left is on the screen? Yeah, somebody said Texas shooting. This is the University of Texas in Austin. And do you know why that's relevant to this class? I mean, he mentioned it because of a shooting, right? Anybody know what year it happened? In 1966, a guy went up to the top of that tower with one mission. It was to kill as many people as possible before he either ran out of bullets or got to the end of his plan or somebody stopped him, right? How do y'all think it stopped that day? How do y'all think the shooting stopped? He shot people. How did the shooting stop? Law enforcement, right? What part of law enforcement do y'all think stopped it that day? SWAT team. Anybody else? I hear, usually when I teach this class, SWAT team, TAC team, I hear marksman, sniper. I hear a lot of those things. Leo, yeah. The problem is, in 1966, if you would have called for the SWAT team, they wouldn't have known what you were talking about because they hadn't invented them yet. Okay? In 1966, the officers just had to deal with it. Do you think they were very well effective in that? Do you think they were very well trained in active shooter response? You know, probably not. Okay, so it took a while before they got to the top and stopped that shooting. Okay? But, you know, a couple of years later, this guy in California came up with the idea. He said, you know, instead of us trying to train 200 different police officers in the department on how to respond to this incident, why don't we train a group of people or specialized teams, and these specialized teams can go in and have the best equipment, best training, uniforms, and know exactly how to deal with the situation. So it was a great idea. So all departments all over the country have been training SWAT teams. So what did we train the patrol officer, the deputy sheriff, the police officer, the state trooper? What were they trained to do when they got to an active shooter situation? What do y'all think?
Probably
Yeah, contain it. So, you know, put a perimeter, nobody in, nobody out. Call the SWAT team, right? Well, you're in Auburn, Alabama today. You're in the campus safety building, but let's say you're in Haley or any other building on campus, and you call, you know, you pick up the phone, 911, send the SWAT team. There's a man with a gun in the building. How long do you think it's going to take for a SWAT team to get to Haley? What do y'all think? Remember, this is the part you're supposed to shout it out if you don't know the answer. 15 minutes. Anybody else? Guys, if we can get a SWAT team dressed out, ready to go in a building, 30 to 45 minutes, we're doing pretty good. Okay? So if you think today I'm going to sit here and tell you what to do for 45 minutes waiting on a SWAT team to get here, you're wrong. That is not the message we're going to do. Well, why does it take that long for a SWAT team? Well, we're in Auburn, Alabama. Do we need a full-time SWAT team sitting in a room somewhere waiting on a call to come in? We don't use them that much, right? Where does the SWAT team come from? Patrol officers, investigators, people behind the desk, people in court, people that are out, you know, with their kids in the park, wherever. They've got to come together. So it makes it hard. The picture on the top right is Columbine High School, 1999. Okay? And yeah, I'm sure that some of these pictures are even going to get updated in our presentation. We've updated some of the information. But in 1999, 2 kids with the same mission that guy had back in Texas to kill as many people as possible went into that school trying to kill people. Okay? And they were successful in killing people, right? How did the shooting stop that day? Anybody know? They killed themselves. And why did they kill themselves? Well, obviously we can't ask them, but we believe they killed themselves because, you know, for one, they're cowards in my book, but for two, they killed themselves because that was their plan. So how hard is it for law enforcement to respond to a situation and deal with a bad guy or an aggressor when they don't even care if they live? That's pretty tough for them, isn't it? It's a tough response for law enforcement. Okay? Well, in that situation, you know, you've heard people say that putting an officer in every school would prevent this. And, you know, I'm sure that it would help. It didn't help at Columbine that day. Okay? So after Columbine, when you watch the police officers around the school, if you go back and look at the video, I remember watching on the news, police officers around the school waiting on the SWAT team to get there. And it was 45 minutes before the first officer made it into that school. I can tell you that changed everything for law enforcement that day. Law enforcement, you know, hey, we all were sitting there saying, man, that's not right. We got to get into that school. After that, they came up with what they call active shooter response training, active shooter response planning. So what that means is when the police officers get on the scene, they're not waiting on the SWAT team. They're calling them, and they're on the way, but when they get on the scene, they're going through the door. So you're in Auburn, Alabama, at Haley Center again, and you dial 911 and say there's a man with a gun. How long before the first police officer pulls up to the door? What do y'all think? How many? 2 minutes? I think that's a pretty good guess. You know, if we said, okay, 2 to 3 minutes, or 3 to 4 even, that's a lot better than 45, right? I think 2 minutes is fair. We had an incident in Louder a couple of years ago, if y'all remember. Some of you may, some of you may not, where a guy walked in with a book bag and he had a vest on, but the vest was a medical brace, but they thought it was a bulletproof vest, or they felt like it was. They dialed 911, said there, you know, they believe there was a guy with a vest. We had police officers on the scene in 2 minutes going in that building, okay, or less. So that tells you, hey, I'm not going to teach you what to do for 45 minutes or things you can do for 45 minutes, but if I could teach you what to do for minutes, 2, 3 minutes to save your life, that's important. We can't go around saying, oh, well, the police will be here in 2 minutes. We don't have to do anything. Okay? Because if we're doing that, how long would it take me if I had a gun in my hand right now? How long would it take me to pull? I mean, how many times could I pull the trigger in 2 minutes? How many times? As many times as I had bullets, right? So we can't simply say, well, I'm not going to worry about it. The police will take care of it. We've got to prepare ourselves and get our minds straight in what we're going to do if this ever happens here. The bottom picture is Virginia Tech. And I put that in there, and yes, I've got one of the worst pictures I could find. I put that in there to show you that it doesn't matter how quick the police get there, people can get killed. So we've got to be prepared to protect ourselves and those people around us. We cannot simply hide under a desk and say the police will be here in 2 minutes. Okay? So we're going to talk about this a little bit, but let's talk about active shooter incidents in general. Typically, 3 to 5 minutes is what we've seen they normally happen. But the biggest one is the first bullet there. It can happen anywhere. If you think that it can't happen at Auburn University, you're wrong. Now, I will tell you, and I start off all my classes telling you, this class is not about Auburn University. We've been training since 2008. I think we were ahead of it, of everybody else. We have really been pushing it out there. We know that it can happen anywhere, but this is about you and the rest of your life. Because 20 years from now, you may not be at Auburn University. You may be sitting in an office somewhere and a person starts shooting. And if something you learned tonight in this class or something you've taken away from the videos and things we've done, that actually could save your life and people around you. So that's why we think this training is so important. And the last one is most offenders tend to have a mental health condition, is what we found. That is statistically correct. Not in every case that we've seen, but it's something that you need to keep in mind as well. So let's talk about some places it's happened. I'm not going to go over each one of these in detail, but I want you to think about this for a minute. Have you ever thought about what you would do if you're sitting in McDonald's or Burger King or one of these restaurants with your family or by yourself and somebody came in and started shooting? If you've never thought about that, you know what you're going to do? You're going to freeze and you're going to panic and you're not going to have any response to it. So you need to think to yourself, what if I'm sitting in a restaurant? What if I'm sitting in a restaurant and something happens? It happened to me in Montgomery, Alabama. I had a guy actually stand up in an argument and pull a gun out. How you respond to that is important. I got my family out of there quickly. Okay? It's very important that you know what to do. Think about it today. Fort Hood, Texas. Nobody ever thought it would happen there, right? On a military installation. I grew up next to Fort Benning, Georgia. I was on that military installation probably once a week throughout my life. I never saw anybody with a gun until after 9/11 when they started having, armed guards, armed police officers at the gates, letting people in. They never thought it would happen there. Did that impact their preparedness? I don't know. I would tend to think no, but I also tend to think that there were people there that probably froze because they never thought it would happen. Salt Lake City, Utah. In this situation, you had a mall. Y'all been to the mall before. You've been shopping for it. You never thought it would happen there. You ever thought about what you would do? Are you going to freeze and panic and jump under a bench? Are you going to run into a clothes rack or try to hide? What are you going to do? Or where's the exit at? Do you know where it is? In this situation, there was an off-duty police officer there that day carrying his gun in a fanny pack. His wife was with him, who was a dispatcher. Both of them worked in the next town over. Okay, when that guy started shooting down on the first floor of that mall, that officer could have ran. He could have ran. Nobody would have blamed him. Okay, but he didn't. He turns to his wife and says, "Get out of here, run to the car, dial 911, tell him I'm going after him, tell him who I am, tell him what I'm wearing." And he went downstairs and he had a gunfight with the guy. They're shooting at each other. What is the guy not doing now? He's not killing people, right? What his intentions were. That officer has now stopped him and interrupted his plans. Okay? There were people hiding under benches and behind little trees. They should have been in the parking lot, y'all. Running, getting away, not panicking, not freezing up and not knowing what to do. They should have been running away. Okay? Oslo, Norway. This guy goes into town, blows up a couple of car bombs, goes out on the summer camp island and starts shooting people and killing them. Do you think they ever thought it would happen at the summer camp island? My kid's going away on something this weekend. Scares me to death for a 12-year-old to go away from me. I don't know what's going to happen. I hope nothing. I want him to be prepared. He sat through this class that I taught at a church. He sat through this class, and when it was over, he got in the truck, and the only thing he said to me was, "Why are y'all not teaching that to us at our school?" That's what he thought of this class, because he felt it was that important as well. Tucson, Arizona. Y'all remember this one, anybody? How about Congresswoman Giffords? Y'all remember this one? Okay, in this situation, it was an open-air forum. The Congresswoman actually got shot, and it was a very serious injury. Other people died. But I want you to put yourself there that day. You're there for the Congresswoman, you're there for an event or whatever it is, and all of a sudden, the person next to you, standing right next to you, pulls out a gun and starts shooting people. What do you do? Have you ever thought about what you would do in that situation? I can promise you I have. What do you do? Okay, I'm going to tell you, I think you're going to go to 3 options. I think there's going to be 3 things you might do. One is you might drop to your knees, cover your head. Please don't kill me. I've got a family. Do you think that person cares? Then why do people do it? You know why? Because they never sat through a class. They've never thought about what they would do in that situation. They've never given themselves options. Okay? Option 2, take off running immediately. Boom. Shots fired, I'm out of here, I'm running. And you've heard your whole life when you run from somebody that's shooting at you, you zigzag. Y'all heard that, right? Everybody smiling? Okay? Does it make good sense? Well, I don't know. Think about the police officer at the range, the best shot in the department. He's standing there. He's got the target. He takes a deep breath. His instructor says fire. He pulls the gun out and he shoots the target. He hits it 100% of the time in the little circle, right? Would it be harder if the target started jumping up and down, turning and moving? Absolutely. Make yourself a harder target. Run behind a car. Run behind a tree. Keep moving. Don't stop. People have said in my class before, if I run, he's going to shoot me. He's there to shoot you. He is trying to shoot you. If you run, you may give yourself a chance. He may shoot you in the arm or the leg, and you can survive. Give yourself a chance to survive. Now, your last option of the 3 that I give you is, I saw this guy in the front row out here. I'm going to pick on you in a minute, man. This guy was thinking, I'm going to knock the crap out of the guy with a gun. You thought about it, right? I know, I saw it in your face right there. Okay? I'm going to hit him, and I can't tell you if that's your right response or not. Why can't I tell you that? Because I'm not there with you. You've got a split-second decision to make that decision. Okay? You've got to decide, am I going to run? Or am I going to try to take this person down? Or what am I going to do? And I'm not going to tell you that my first reaction for you is to take a person with a gun down. Because that sometimes that can go bad for you. Okay? That may not be the best response. Okay? And plus, let's say you're 100 pounds soaking wet and the guy with the gun is 250 and is in the gym every day. Are you really going to do anything to him, okay, that's going to effectively take him to the ground? Now, on the other hand, if you're 250, been in the gym every day, and the guy with the gun's, 100 pounds soaking wet, hey, you might have a shot here. Take him, whatever you got to do to take him to the ground. You get to make that decision, and you're going to be able to make a decision like that to run or to do something because you've thought about it before. And if you've never thought about it before, guess what? You have tonight. You thought about what you would do. Okay, and so we're a step closer than where we need to be now. Okay, think about things like that. I was at a 4th of July event one time down on this bridge. It was kind of an overhill down to it. Crowd of people. I had my kids with me. They were young then at the time. In my hands, my little boy's like, I want to go down there. I'm like, we're not going down there. That crowd's too big. We're staying right up here. We can watch the fireworks. All of a sudden, we're talking, and all of a sudden, I look up, and the entire bridge is running at us up the hill. Okay, and there's nowhere to go. There's cars everywhere. I turned and grabbed them and took off running. I made a decision. But then my decision was to break 90 degrees into the bunch of cars, and that crowd went by us. I made a decision. They were running because somebody set off a firecracker and they thought it was a gunshot. Okay? You've got to be prepared to make decisions, y'all. I think like that because I've been thinking like that my entire adult life. Guys, I've had to make decisions. I've been in law enforcement a long part of my career. I delivered my first baby in the back of the ambulance at 19 years old. Okay, I'm not like most people, okay? I had to make decisions. I'm prepared to make them. You've got to think about them one time in your life to make those decisions. Okay? Aurora, Colorado, the movie theater. Okay, I taught all the facilities workers, and I think some of y'all have probably taken my class before, and you're probably refreshing it. I remember when this happened on a Thursday night. I came to work the next morning, Friday morning, and I was getting out of the vehicle back here, and the facilities worker was blowing the parking lot off. He cuts his blower off, walks up to me and said, I took your class, but if I'd have been in that movie theater last night, there was nothing I could have done, was there? And I looked at him and I said, you took my class, and you're saying there's nothing you could do? Did you pay attention? There's always something you could do. You're in a movie theater. How many of y'all been to the movies in the last 5 years? All right? Okay, you're in a movie theater. And at the beginning of the movie, it always says, pay attention to the illuminated exit signs. And y'all kept eating your popcorn and talking to your friend. You ain't paid attention yet. You know what I do? For a split second in my life, I go, exit, exit, good. Okay? I have at least in my mind how I can get out of this place if I need to. And you're thinking, well, chance they're illuminated. You know, I can get out. What if they're not? What if the smoke covers them? What if they go out for some reason? I still want to know at least the direction I can go. But let's talk about a shooting. They said, some of the witnesses there said, we didn't even know it. We thought it was part of the movie. Okay, we didn't realize he was shooting. So you're sitting in a movie theater. Now I'm going to tell you where I sit at. Anybody want to guess where I sit at in the movie theater? Where I sit? Back row middle. That's my seat. Don't take my seat, okay? That's where I sit at. Why? I want everything in front of me. I want to be able to make decisions, right? I want to see what's going on. So I'm sitting on the back row. And let's stop for a second. I'm not trained, or I have a little training with you. Let's say we're sitting in that movie theater. When somebody starts shooting, where do you think everybody's going to go? How about to the floor? Okay? Why? Because that is our natural reaction, is to drop and cover. Okay? So everybody in the theater goes to the floor. If that guy wants to shoot people now, what does he have to do? How about just walk up the steps and shoot down the aisles, right? Okay? That's what he is expecting. Okay? What am I going to do on the back row? I'm back there with you. What am I going to do when he starts shooting? Anybody want to guess? I can tell you. I'm going to the floor with you. Boom. Why? Because I can't fight it. That is the most natural reaction you have, is to drop and get the cover. But what I'm going to do next is important, because I've thought about this. I'm going to pop my little head up and I'm going to find him. Okay? I'm going to find where he's at. As long as he stays down there in that corner, I'm staying right where I'm at, on the floor. Okay? But if he starts walking up this way, I've got a plan. If he starts walking up this side, I'm going that way. If he starts walking up this side, I'm going that way. And I'm not going alone, because what I'm going to start doing is screaming and yelling. Anybody want to guess what I'm yelling? Everybody run. Why? Because all those people laying down are looking for somebody to tell them what to do. So I'm getting up, run! Everybody run! Now, what happens when 32 heads start popping up and people start running? What do you have? Chaos. Plan just went to crap, right? Now, you got everybody running. Yeah, he might still be shooting. Is he shooting accurately? Is he shooting people on the floor where they're not moving? No. People have asked me for years in this class, Chance, what are you going to do if your family's with you? I said, man, that's a great question. I love it, because we've talked about it. If I'm on that floor with my family, my wife knows I'm going to look at her and say, hey, when I say go, you go. And it may be that way or that way, whichever the opposite direction of the person is. And when I say go, it's I'm coming up, go. Everybody run. I'm yelling it. And then I'm going for the shooter, y'all. That's my decision, though. And he's going to eat my shoes and my popcorn and my drink and anything else I can get my hands on as I go at him. He may shoot and kill me. If he doesn't, I'm going to get to him, and it's the fight's on. Guess where my family's at? In the car. Because I made a decision. Because that's what I wanted to do. Think about what you do in these situations. Think about them today, not when it's happening. Okay? The Pulse nightclub, I put this one in here. This is a tough one, much like the Las Vegas Strip. You know, you're in a system where you've got a lot of people there. And people, it's chaos. People don't know what to do. If you remember in the Las Vegas one, if you saw some of the videos, people were actually getting behind paper signs and hiding. Guys, in law enforcement, there's cover and concealment, okay? You cover all day behind a piece of paper, and I can't see you. But a bullet will go right through it, right? Concealment, can I get behind some brick block wall and it protect me? Absolutely it can. So you got to make decisions. If nothing else, get away, run. Y'all have heard of Run, Hide, Fight, right? Run, Hide, Fight's a video that was created out in Houston, Texas by Homeland Security funds. Okay? When that video was created, Alabama decided, hey, we're going to adopt Run, Hide, Fight because we can create our own system, our own program, Run, Hide, Fight, and we don't have to pay to train instructors. We can leverage their law enforcement backgrounds and all of that. I'm a Run, Hide, Fight instructor too. When they started coming up with a PowerPoint presentation, guess where they got it from? Right here. We gave them ours. In fact, some of the pictures you're going to see in our presentation is me. And holding belts and things like if you saw it on the front page of the paper today, that same picture is shown at the University of Alabama and all over this state because it's good information on what to do. But in those situations, you better have a plan. How am I going to get away? You've heard the old things that people have said about have a family reunification point. Those are real. Okay? If we get separated, I want you to meet me here. Don't think I don't tell my 12-year-old that. Hey son, if I lose you, or you can't find me or anything, meet me at the that big red thing up there, or the big sign over there or something. Think about what would I do to survive. So let's talk about higher education. Remember, we can't say that it won't happen here, because it can. University of California. I can't pronounce the second one, I'm sorry. Community College. I put these up here to let you know it can happen here at Auburn University. It can happen anywhere. Okay? Ohio State. This was a facilities worker that got fired. He goes back to kill his boss, kills another guy, and injures 2 more people. Okay? Because he got fired. Workplace violence. We have those issues that we have to deal with. Okay? But the University of Alabama, Huntsville. Anybody remember this one? Okay, that's close to home, guys. Who was the bad guy that day? Don't say a name. Who was the bad guy that day? Anybody know? Okay? It was a female faculty member. Okay? When I say don't say their name, you'll notice I go through every one of these stories and every one of these events, and I'll never say the person's name that was the shooter. Anybody know why? Because that's what they want you to do. And in all my years, I've never said any of their names. I will not say them, because that's what they're trying to do, is get fame, and I don't want them to have it. Okay? University of Alabama, Huntsville, this female faculty member, they said, why did she do it? What do you think people said? Anybody remember why they said they thought she did it? Said she didn't get tenure. Okay? I was an adjunct instructor. I taught criminal justice at Troy and several community colleges. I was never up for tenure. I went to our provost and said, hey, tell me about tenure. I don't understand this. You're judged by your peers. You teach a mission to the university. You get a contract, basically, a really nice contract of employment. If you don't, you get a letter of non-continuation. This faculty member got a letter of non-continuation. Means she doesn't have a job. Okay? People said, oh, you should have known. She had a past. You should have known she was going to do this. But they didn't really know much about the past. You should have known she had 2 classes that morning. If you look back, the classes were normal. The kids said everything was normal. You should have known because she didn't get tenure. I said it was 13 months after she didn't get tenure when this happened. How do you know? Well, maybe there was signs and tells. I'm sure they have looked hard into that. But the important thing is, what are you going to do if it happens? She went into a department head meeting, biology department head meeting, sat down, had a meeting, and it went normal until she took her 9mm out and started shooting people in the head. What did people around that conference table do? You know what they did. They went under the table, y'all, because that's all they had. They were checked out, right? Under the table. One of her colleagues crawls under the table, tries to reason with her. Please, I've helped you before, I'll help you again. She starts for the door. She trips and falls in the doorway. Her friend with that gun walks over to her, points a gun at her, and goes click, and the gun doesn't fire. Okay? The shock and amazement of that is you on the floor. What do you do? Okay? Have you ever thought about what would you do in that situation? You got 3 options again, guys. Please don't kill me. You know my face. She does not care. The shooter does not care. 2, jump up, take off, run and zigzag out the door. Man, don't stop till you see a police officer. Okay? Maybe throw something at her head on the way out the door if you got it in your hand, right? 3, this guy said it earlier, right? Well, knock the crap out of her, man. Take her to the ground. You got a split second to make a decision. It may not always be the best decision, guys. What she did, and with some other survivors in that room, they pushed her out that door, they slammed the door on her, and they put furniture and stuff up against the door and didn't let her back in. They made a decision, and it could have saved her life. And I know you're thinking, well, Chance, the gun didn't fire. But do you know how long it takes a police officer to reload a gun that runs out of bullets? About 2 seconds. Anybody want to give her 2 seconds? Okay? To pull another gun out, or to pull a knife out, or to hit you in the head with a gun, or what? Anybody want to give her that time? Not me. I want to get away now. Get her away from us, whatever we have to do. Okay? I'll tell you another bad decision one time, and you can go out and watch it. The Panama City School Board meeting. I don't know if anybody's ever seen that or anything about it. They had a school board meeting. School board's up there on the kind of the pedestal. They're meeting behind this desk thing. All of a sudden, the superintendent's, I think the superintendent's talking, and he just stops talking. And he kind of looks into the crowd, and the camera goes away from him and goes over here. And there's this guy spray painting the wall. Now, you know that's not good, right? That's something wrong here. Okay? He turns, the guy with the gun turns, he's got a gun in his hand. He goes, oh, y'all can leave. Turns to the school board member and said, y'all need to stay. And he starts telling the story about how his wife got fired, and it's not worth living, and all of this. Okay? Bad decisions, guys. One of those, I think she was an office member, office staff member, actually comes up behind the guy while he's talking with the gun with her purse in her hand. Okay? And she swings the purse at him and misses him. Okay? He turns to her and you're expecting him to kill her at that moment. He pushes her down. The only reason he didn't kill her is because he didn't want to. Okay? A few minutes later, the guy fires one round into the desk in front of the school board members. A retired police officer was working for the school, came through, shot the guy. The guy then got on the ground and killed himself. Okay? The reason I tell you that story is, if you're that person with the purse, you should be in your car going home or talking to the police. You should not try to take these matters into your own hands. And nothing I'm going to tell you today is for you to leave a safe place or to try to do anything that law enforcement can take care of. In that situation, she should have left that up to law enforcement. She could have got herself or other people killed by doing that. Okay? We need to think about what are our options. The other ones here, Virginia Tech, we're going to talk a lot about Virginia Tech as we go. Why? Because it was horrific, and we've learned a lot of lessons from that. I hope you can too. University of Iowa, New York, all of these, all the way back to the one in Texas, and there are many more that I could have put on here. They're there to show you it can happen anywhere. So let's talk about K-12 for a minute. Now, you don't have to dig very deep to talk about the one that just happened in Florida. Okay? Horrific. I mean, it's hard for me to even watch it on TV, to be honest with you. I'm still not even really realizing just the total impacts of what has happened down there. Okay, we actually had a student, and I hope you're not in the room. If you are, it's okay. It actually emailed us yesterday and said, "Thank you so much for offering this class to the students, because I went to school at that high school, and it makes me feel good knowing that I'm in Auburn and have such a caring family." Okay, you know, we offer this class for everybody because we think it's important. But in that situation, this kid goes in there and starts killing people for no reason. Okay. Were they prepared? They're better prepared than schools were 10 years ago. I can guarantee you that. But are we going to be prepared? Are we going to have ourselves as prepared as we can be? Marshall County High School in Benton, Kentucky. The numbers there in parentheses are deaths and injuries, guys. 17 and 14. 2 dead, 18 injured in Marshall County. Madison Junior High in Ohio. No dead, but 5 injured. Y'all remember Sandy Hook? Terrible situation. Guy comes in through us. He actually shoots his way around a door that's locked. Shoots his way through a window to get in. My wife actually teaches at a school. She said to me one time, she said, "You know, he just shot his way in." I said, "Yeah, but if you're the first classroom down the hallway, you are going to appreciate that that door was locked and he had to shoot his way in, because that gave you one heck of a warning that he was coming." Okay? Every step that these schools, these K-12 schools are taking, or these businesses, it's a step more towards preparedness and preparing their people. Okay? Having a plan is important. Perry Hall, I put that one in there because a 15-year-old comes in and kills a 17-year-old. That number is actually not numbers of death and injuries. He only shot one person. He was immediately tackled by the guidance counselor and put on the ground. Columbine High School. We know 15 dead, 24 injured. We've heard the story. You know it. You probably know it. You've probably seen it, in some of the recent times talking about it. We know they brought guns that day to kill people with. What else did those 2 high school kids bring to kill people with that day? Anybody know?
Bombs.
Homemade explosives, bombs. Okay, how many? If you know the answer, don't, if you've been in my class before, don't shout it out. How many bombs did the 2 high school kids bring to school that day to kill people with? I want y'all to guess. I know you don't know. What do y'all think? What do y'all think? 2, 10, 4, 20. Guys, they brought 99. Okay, why did they bring 99? To kill people. Okay, they found many of them still in their bodies unexploded after they had killed themselves. Why? They had gotten to the point that, I'm sure in their minds, they probably thought the SWAT team was going to jump out of the wall any minute, and they decided to end it. The reason I tell you this is not to make you bomb techs or to, give you some special training in that. If you're ever in a dangerous situation, a bomb threat, a suspicious package, a lockdown, even if you get cleared on it, if you open the door, then there's a box or a backpack laying there, don't touch it. Don't kick it. Don't move it. Don't pick it up. And I know you're thinking, Chance, that's the stupidest thing you said all night. But is it really? Because I had a buddy of mine, 30 years in law enforcement, he was a lieutenant, who went to a bank robbery in which the guy put the box on the counter and said, "Give me all your money or this is going to blow up." They gave him all the money. The guy left the box and took off running. The officer gets there. He walks in and said, "There's still people in here. This is dangerous." He grabs the box and runs out the door with it. And we've told him for 30 years, don't touch the box, man. Tunnel vision. We get tunnel vision and we don't think, y'all. You may think, "Oh, John must have left his backpack," or somebody left a backpack, and pick it up. Everything in a situation like that is suspicious until it's not. Okay? Springfield, Oregon, this kid brings a .22 rifle to school, starts shooting people, starts reloading his gun. 7 high school kids jump out from under the table, tackle him to the ground, and hold him down till the police got there. And I know you're thinking, yes. And they probably did that because of Columbine. You know, they learned from it. But it actually happened before Columbine. Okay? Why did they do it? I don't know. I'm glad they did. In high school, I probably still would have been under the table hiding. Okay? Because you would have not got me out from under that table if I hadn't been shot or shot at, right? I'd still be under the table. Thank goodness they did it. You look at their videos, the kids are like, well, Billy was doing it, and I wanted to help him. That's stuff, guys. If kids in high school can do it, can we do better? Can we be better prepared in what we do? I put the last one in there, and I'm going to tell you this. I did not put this in here today. I have been teaching on this since probably 2000. I'd say probably since 2009. In this situation in Jonesboro, this kid was sitting in the classroom. He raised his hand, I got to go to the restroom. Walks right by the restroom, pulls a firearm, runs outside with his buddy in the bushes, and starts shooting people as they evacuate with a firearm. Okay. I have been telling people in this class since 2009. I want you to think about that for a second. That is the most crazy thing. That little box on the wall tells you to get up, and you've been told your whole life to get up and go outside. And now there's somebody shooting at you, and they pulled the firearm to get you to come towards them. I want you to think about this because 20 years from now, 30 years from now, you're sitting in an office, and you're sitting there, and the fire alarm goes off. You may close your computer or whatever. You get up, grab your purse, you're headed out the door. You open the door, and you hear gunshots. What are you going to do? Where's the threat now? Is it the fire or is it the gunshots? Well, unless I see fire or smoke, it's the gunshots, right? What am I going to do at that point if I don't know how to get out? Now, if the door's right there and I can get outside, go. But if you don't know where to go and the only way to go is where the gunshots are coming from, go back inside, barricade that door with everything you got in that room, and have a plan. Have 2 plans. What am I going to do if he starts through that door, he's coming in this door, I've got to do something to protect myself. What am I going to do if I see fire or I smell smoke? Why? Because at some point you may have to make a run for it, okay? Or go out a window, or go out another door, or whatever you can. Which is another key factor. If you're in a room with 2 doors, this room has 2 doors, okay? That's an exit that way, and that's an exit that way. If I hear gunshots out that door, why would I barricade the door? There's another way out. I'm gone. Okay? But if that's the only door and I hear gunshots on the other side of it, I have nowhere to go. I need to barricade the door the best I can. Okay? And we're going to talk about these doors in here because I know some of you are looking at it going, wait a minute now. We're going to talk about that, I promise. Okay? How many of you here have ever practiced a lockdown? Oh, yeah, I love it. When I teach students, hands go up. Okay? You've practiced a lockdown before. Okay? You remember your code? Did you have a code? Can you shout out your code? What was your code? You're not giving away any secrets. What was your code? What's that?
We only had the teacher would know it in our case.
Oh, the students didn't know the code?
So
okay.
The teacher, like a person would come by.
Okay. They would come by and whisper it to the That's the best one I've heard yet. I love it. I mean, that's out there, man. That's good. So anybody else?
Ours came over the loudspeaker and
okay.
Sister Agnes is in the building.
Sister Agnes is in the building. A lot of the ones I've heard are the superintendent's in the building. Dr. Smith is in the building. The library opens at 3, and they didn't have a library. There were several little codes that they put out there. And I said, what? Why do you use codes? Some of them would put red and green cards under the door. Okay, you had that one. I'm going to eat these alive. Okay, in just a second. I'm going to give you a synopsis of what we do at Auburn University. Okay, first off, why do you think when I asked the teachers and principals, you had code words? Why do you think they told me they had code words? Top 2 reasons. What do y'all think they were?
They wouldn't know what it was?
Well, that's number 2. We didn't want the bad guy to know what it was. We didn't want him to know he was there. But number 1 was we didn't want to scare the kids. Okay? I said, okay. I taught this class to 1,500 first-year Greek life students in the Auburn arena. When I asked the question if you had a lockdown code, half or more of the hands went up in the room. Okay? How knew the code? If every time you say, Sister Agnes is in the building, all the kids jump up, the teacher cuts the lights off and locks the door, and you all get in the corner, we know what the code word is. Okay? You're not keeping anybody from being scared or being frightened. You know what the code word is. Okay? If your parents are in that school walking down the hallway in a visit and they hear, attention teachers, the superintendent's in the building, they have no idea what's going on. What if there's a substitute teacher there or a visitor? They have no idea. Now they're walking and go up there to talk to the superintendent. And the guy's got a gun in there. Okay? I said, I'm debunking this because the kids know what the code words are. And in fact, do you really think it's going to go across like that? Guy walks in the office with a gun. Do you really think they're going to come on the loudspeaker and go, attention teachers, the superintendents that know. They're going to be screaming all kind of stuff. You're going to know it's real. Okay? So I tell them, hey, we don't take a chance at Auburn. We want everybody to know what's going on. We send an AU alert out. We go over the loudspeakers. We go over the systems inside the buildings. We're going to say there is a person with a gun, shots fired, whatever. We can give that information along with the location. Because does it matter to you if the person with the gun is near the Haley Center if you're at BetMed? That matters, don't it, to me? I want to know, hey, man, whoo, they're not right outside my door, right? But does it also matter if you're on the second floor of Haley that I tell you the gunman's at Haley? It's a big difference, ain't it? Information goes a long way. The card thing, well, let's talk real quick about the second part of the code word. We don't want the bad guy to know that he's there. I've already picked on this guy, and I'm going to pick on this guy right here. We're up here at Sanford Hall. We're going to go across the street and get something to eat. We got 30 minutes to get something to eat. We get to the edge of the road, and he said, let's go, man. We got this. I'm like, hold up, man. Auburn police, they're writing jaywalking tickets, $100, man. We got to go to the crosswalk. He goes, no, man, we got this. Come on, we got time. And he starts across there. I go, hold up, man. There's a police officer sitting right up there. He goes, he's looking the other way. He's not paying attention to me. I got this. Let's go. He takes off running. What happens when he gets about halfway across that first lane of traffic when I turn and go, police, get him? What does he do? What does he do, y'all? Come back, freeze, come back and hit me in the head, probably, right? Okay? He may take off running faster. He may trip and fall. He may get hit by a car. What is he not doing? What his plan was. Get across the street, get something to eat, and get back in 30 minutes. Not get a ticket, not get hit by a car. Okay? I have screwed his whole plan up. If the bad guy's getting out of the car and you see him through the window with a gun, and he's walking towards the school, and he takes his first step into the building, and he hears on the intercom, attention teachers, the superintendent's in the building. Does he care? In fact, he's like, yes, good day. Okay? If he takes the first same step and he walks in and he hears, locked down, man with a gun in the front office coming through the door, black jacket, black hat, police are on the way, they're pulling in the parking lot. Does that make a difference to him? Absolutely it does. He might turn and run. Dad one time told me, one of the teachers, I'm sorry, he was a teacher, he was a father of a student, told me, Chance, that makes sense, but what if he hears that and takes off running faster into the school and starts shooting quicker? I said, very good point. If you were all laying on this floor right now, hiding under these tables, would you rather be running the door, running out that door, shooting at you, or take my time and walk through the room? On my plan, on my time, knowing I got 2 or 3 minutes. You'd rather me be running, wouldn't you? Stressed out, worried to death the police are right behind me, okay? We've got to talk through this a little bit. This was the typical lockdown you had in school. Lock the door, cut the lights off behind the corner. Raise your hand if that was it. Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, what in the world are we doing this for? We're cutting the lights off and locking the door and hiding in the corner because we don't want the person to think nobody's home, right? We're not in this classroom. But then we would put a red or green card under the door and say, hey, we're okay in here. That doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? Okay? What's that? In the window, same thing too. You know, hey, we're good. If your kid went to school there or knows the lockdown drills, which we have seen in a lot of cases, Columbine, the one the other day, right? They know the drill. If they know they get to a room, lights off, you know, doors locked, nobody's in there, but there's a green card in the door, what do they know? Oh, they're in the door. Think about stuff like that. We think about that here. We try to get away from stuff like this. So what I'm going to do, remember I said at the beginning of the class, I said keep an open mind. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call you up. Will you walk up here for me? You get to be part of my demonstration. Stand right here. This is your teacher. Okay? I'm going to walk out this door right there. Okay? That's the door I'm going to walk out. You have to do whatever she tells you to do. No cheating, okay? Whatever she tells you to do. And all you can tell them to do is hide. Okay? All you can do is hide. Don't mess with the projector or anything. Okay? There are no other doors. Don't go into any of these doors. Don't go out that door. That door doesn't exist. There's one door in, one door out, and all you can do is hide in this room. Don't throw anything at me, tackle me, throw chairs at me. Yeah, all of this is happening. I had a guy pull a knife on me one time, okay? Don't do any of that. This is a demonstration, and I'll show you why we're doing it in a minute, okay? So I'm going to walk out the door, and I'll be right back to see you in just a minute, okay? So as soon as she says lock down, y'all start hiding, okay? And I'll be right back to see you, okay? All right. I'll cut the lights off for you. I'm good. I'm a good guy. All right, lock down. Go. I know you're in here. Run! Run! You're in here.
You did.
Where y'all at? All right, everybody back in your seat. I knew I was going to start losing you. Everybody back in your seat real quick. All right. All right, I'm going to tell you as you get back in your seats, I know that was silly. I know you're thinking to yourself, why am I doing this? There is no way with what I know today that I would do what I'm doing right there. But what I was doing there is I was kind of showing you what a natural reaction is, and that's to hide under a table or behind a chair. You know I can see everybody in the room when I walk in the door, right? And you don't even have to admit it, and that's okay. But when I cut the light on, some of y'all said that's not fair. Okay? But that's the first thing the guy's going to do or the lady's going to do is turn the light on when they walk in the door, right? Okay? The reason I do that is so I can ask the question, how did it feel? How did it feel?
Vulnerable.
Vulnerable. Anybody else? Helpless? Sitting duck? Horrible? Y'all, in instructor class, they made me hide in a student's desk. And y'all know that didn't go very well. Okay, I'm hiding in a desk. I'm like, dude, this is crazy. He said, just do it. Instructor came back in. I was really nice to y'all. I don't think anybody got hurt with the tennis balls today. I was really nice to y'all. He came back in with an airsoft BB gun. He put it 6 inches from my arm and pulled the trigger. And blood started coming down my arm. I am totally mad at this point, really mad. Get back in the classroom. He said, how did it feel? I said, I'll tell you how it felt. Give me the gun and let me show you how it felt. But then, seriously, Chance, how did it feel? What are you thinking right now? I'm thinking that'll never happen again. I'm not going to let you do it to me again. And that's the same thing, the reason I do that to you, is I got you under the table. You're in there. I hit the table on a couple of you. You made you jump. You were all giggling until I hit the door. Remember when that boom in the door? There was not a soul said a word after that, or a peep. Okay? Because it got real for a minute there. Okay? I do that to let you know maybe there's more than just hiding. Maybe there's more. Maybe there's got to be more than we can do than just hide under a table. Okay? Your response is going to be based on your natural reaction, which is to hide, or what, whatever you've been taught in a class like this. And hopefully some of the things we talk about today will put some other options in your mind. What would the normal person do with no training? I want you to think about this for a second. You're in a room, where you get number one? You're in a room with 30 people that have never had any training at all, okay? You're sitting in a room, one door in, one door out, and all of a sudden you hear a loud boom, sound like a shotgun went off somewhere outside the room. What are the 30 people in the room going to do? What do y'all think? What do you think they're going to do? Huh? Hit the floor. I think somebody is going to go try to look outside. What was that? I think some in the room are going to jump under the floor, like jump on the floor and hide under the table. I think some are going to jump up and go, what are we doing? But I think most people in that room are going to sit in their chair, and their head is going to be on a swivel like this, and they're going to be looking around like this, and what are they looking for? What are they looking for, y'all? Somebody to tell them what to do. Somebody to take some kind of action. So if you, when you leave this class, are the only person in that room in 20 years from now, and you stand up in that room and go, guys, I know what to do, follow me. How many people in that room are going to follow you? Just about everybody in the room. Now think about that. I told you I taught over 30,000 people. Okay? If one of those people are in that classroom jumps up and does that, how many people's lives just got saved? See how important it is to come to this training? Okay, same room, guy walks in the door and just automatically starts shooting. What are the people in the room going to do? I think some are going to freeze and panic and not do a thing. They are just completely checked out, not going to do anything. Because they've never thought about what they're going to do and they're in complete panic mode. I think the majority in there are going under the table. Maybe even go under the corner like they did in school, because that's what they learned. And they just don't have anything else. Is that enough? Is hiding enough? This is what y'all looked like a while ago. Is hiding enough? What are they hiding from? Okay? Is hide, this is what you were taught in school, right? Every one of y'all? Yes, absolutely. Okay? And usually the teacher is on top of you, right? She's not locked the door and cut the lights off. Now she's on top of you, protecting you. Our goal is to keep you safe, keep away from the aggressor, and get law enforcement there as soon as possible. How are we going to do that? Every second counts. Dial 911 quickly. Some people are scared to death. I can't do it. I can't dial 911. I can tell you right now, you own the system because you pay taxes. And they're not going to come up to you going, I can't help you. Thought that was a gunshot. You shouldn't have called. They're not going to do that. They're going to walk up to you and go, and it was, it was something, it's construction or whatever it was. Thank you for calling us. You really thought that was bad, and I can understand why. They are there to protect you. Okay? You're sitting in the same classroom. You hear gunshots, no doubt. There's gunshots outside the door. What are you going to do? So let's talk about what they did at Virginia Tech real quick. Got a couple of short videos here. It's not supposed to be freezing on me. Hang on just a second, y'all. This worked great when we tested it a while ago. Always happens. Now give me just a second. We just tested this before y'all walked in and it worked perfect, so I got to back up. Hang on.
Is the volume on? Desktop up?
Yep.
I don't think it was on.
Oh, I'm telling you, it worked great a while ago. All right, I get to talk through it. I hate this. Well, y'all can absolutely watch this on YouTube, but I don't know why that's happening. We tested it just before y'all walked in and everything worked great. So, give me just a second. But that's the way things happen. First kid talks about how in their classroom they heard what they thought was construction noise. Okay, they immediately when they realized that the guy had a gun, they immediately started hiding under desks in the corner. The guy walks in, the bad guy walks in with a gun, starts shooting people. Okay, he reloads his gun while he's in the classroom, starts shooting more people. Okay, he leaves the classroom, nobody pushed him out. What they did next is unreal. They decided to get up, for the ones that were still alive, got up and started barricading the door with themselves and furniture. The guy came back to that door to try to get back in. He shot into the door and the bullets almost went through the door. He could not get into the room. They kept him out. So you have to ask yourself, well, what would have been different if they would have just barricaded in the first place? But, you know, they said it sounded like construction noise. Could you see yourself in class or in your office thinking, you know, there's no way that's gunshots. There's no way those are gunshots because I'm in school. Somebody would have told me if that was, right? Absolutely, I could. But with the world we live in today, you can't be that. You've got to be prepared for it. If that's gunshots, I need to investigate that and see if it is. And do some kind of action. Okay? In that situation, they hid and it wasn't very effective for them. Okay? The next one I have, the next video that I have, I can try to play it. That's probably not going to work either. Something's wrong with our volume. This classroom is brand new. Okay? In this situation, you had a Holocaust survivor, teacher, faculty member at Virginia Tech, second floor Norris Hall, who decided to send his kids out the window, the second floor window. Have you ever thought about going out of the second floor window? You can survive it, you know, hopefully it's not a real high one. Okay? In this situation, he blocked the door with his body while the kids went out the window, and they dropped to safety. Okay? The gunman actually shot and killed the professor. He was a Holocaust survivor on Holocaust Remembrance Day. It was terrible, but he saved so many lives. What would have happened in that room if he'd have told them hide and he'd have hid under his desk? A lot more of them would have been killed. Only one got killed outside the door, and he got killed at the door. Okay, the rest of them survived. The last one is a video. It's at Virginia Tech as well. It's just down the hallway. In this situation, these kids were in the same situation. They heard gunshots. They thought it was construction noise. When they heard somebody scream, a couple of the girls go to the door and see the guy with the gun down the hallway. They all start going into panic mode. They start hiding under tables and desks, and this kid hides behind the teacher's podium, and he goes, you know, there's nothing for keeping him from walking right in the door. So they all start barricading the door with furniture and themselves. He gets to the door, he shoves the door, gets it open about 6 inches, they shove it back again. They keep the door shut, he shot into the door, the bullets didn't come through. That is the only room at Virginia Tech that no one was injured or killed in on the second floor or something, okay, in that shooting that day. All because they barricaded the door with themselves and furniture that they had. Okay, that tells me right there we can learn from that. What if, you know, immediately upon believing that it's a shooter situation, what if we start taking actions and steps to try to protect ourselves? Well, absolutely, I think it will help. Okay? So, your actions are going to be based on your training. And I want you to think when you leave here, you're the only person in the room that's ever had any training, and I'm going to have to tell everybody else in there what to do. Okay? How do you find out when someone enters a building? If someone comes in, you may hear gunshots, screams. You may see the person with a gun. Somebody may come in the door and tell you. You may even get an AU alert if it's a couple of minutes into the situation. Because we can't send those immediately, instantly. As soon as we learn about it, we send it, though. And it's pretty fast. It gets out pretty fast now. Okay? What's the best way to tell people across campus about it? Okay? Dial 911. Don't think, I actually had somebody in my class one time say, I can tweet it out. No, I'm talking about dial 911. We're going to send an AU alert. We're going to let folks know. We're going to set off the sirens, do other things. Give them the details, get to a safe place, and tell people to be ready to take action. Okay? So let's talk a minute about lockdown. You've got a situation where you need to lock down. What is it? What is the goal? Is to stay away from the danger. Okay? Always, if you can get away, go. But if you can't and you don't know any other place, you make a safe place and you barricade down. Okay? Lockdown's good, but we got to do more than cutting the lights off, hiding in the corner, and locking the doors. We got to do more than that. Okay? Not all the doors lock, and I know some of y'all have already looked around this room and you've looked at the doors and say these doors open outward chance. Okay? But maybe our goal needs to change. Maybe it's not effective that we can completely keep that door from opening. But maybe we can slow the person down, distract them, and give law enforcement time to get there. How can we do that? Okay? Some doors can be secured without a lock. Okay? I believe that. I've seen it. You got to be creative. Can you do that if you've got the furniture to do it? Hey, if you've got furniture in the room, can you not stack it up against the door? Absolutely. What about that? Facilities did this. It took them about 25 seconds probably to put that in front of that door. Okay? What about that? It's got a table at the bottom there, wrapped around the handle there. The other things on that is, it may not keep them out, but they're not coming right in the door, right? Okay? What about this one? Okay? This was Mississippi State. Actually, they had a guy they thought had a gun outside the library. This is an actual picture from there. And when I looked at this, I said, man, they've had some training. They've been through these classes before and know what to do. Okay? So we've got to be creative. Use what's available, and remember our goals are to keep away from the aggressor. Okay? Hey, I had somebody ask me about this the other day, is that a rubber stopper? Is that it? No, that's not it. We're going to use it if the door opens inward. We're going to kick that stopper on it, but then we're still going to stack the stuff because we want to use everything we got. Okay? What about these doors? These doors don't have locks. What can we do to keep them closed? Yeah, this is a universal signal here, like this. People say in my class. Take a belt, take 2 belts, take articles of clothing, and wrap them around the handles. Okay? And that will keep those doors from probably opening. Okay? What about this one now? These push bars are different than the old, remember the old bars that rock down? Some of y'all may not remember them, but they would rock down. At Virginia Tech, the guy actually took chains and locks and wrapped them around those to keep the police from getting in and people from leaving. Okay? In this situation, you try to wrap something around this and it's not going to work. I've tried. Okay? But this one has external locking mechanisms, right? What about taking clothing, ties, belts, whatever you got, and wrapping around those? I had a facilities worker, in my class when they said, hey, that's great, Chance, but, those things are kind of flimsy, and eventually they're just going to, break. What word did I like he said? Eventually. He didn't just walk right in, did he? He had to fight for it. A minute away from the police getting there to shoot at you, are you really going to take the time to fight for one door, or are you going to go look for another one you can get right in? Think about that, y'all. What can we do to slow them down? You open a door that opens outward, and there's a mound of furniture in front of you you've got to get through. You might think about moving on to the next one, but if you don't, let's say you're inside over around the corner getting Plan B ready, and he decides he's coming through all this junk. He's not just going to walk in and start shooting you, is he? He's now got to start throwing stuff out of the way to get through it, and now you're ready for Plan B. Okay, we're going to talk about what that is. What about those? Those have to open up. What about wrapping belts and clothing and things around those? And this door is a lot like this door right here. There's really not anything we can do with that one, right? What about a belt on the handle? Pull it in. What about take one of these tables, flip it up in front of that door, take the extension cords off his computer, wrap it around that handle, wrap it around that table. Now what have you got? He's got to snatch the table through the door to even get to you. It's not going to happen. You just saved everybody in the room with a $5 extension cord or one of these power cords off his computer and a table. Okay? As opposed to, everybody get under the table and hide, and he walks right in. Okay? Think about the little options that we have there, guys. How are we going to do it? We're going to lock the door, we're going to barricade it, we're going to disable devices, and we're going to cover the window. People say, do we cover the window and the door? I said, man, this is an easy one for me. If you're in a room that you just took every piece of furniture and put it up against the door, and you're standing there, and it's a small room, and he's going to look through the window and see you, cover the window. And I'm not talking about construction paper and scissors, y'all. I'm talking about obscure it with a jacket, a coat, a board, or a poster. I used to tell teachers all the time when I taught them, hey, get your favorite poster that fits over the window, put it on the wall, but when it's time, grab it off the wall and put it over the window. Okay, now you've covered your window that quick. You had an option. Okay, so in that situation, if you can get around the corner and you're over here getting a plan and he's going to look through the window and see, he can't see you, I'm not going to cover it. Why? I want him to see all the junk he's got to get through to get into that room, and he may move on to the next one. Okay, think about the way they're thinking. Okay, so doors are locked and barricaded. Get out of sight. Silence your phones. Now I know you're thinking, I got this, man. iPhone. I'm going to flip the little switch on the side. That's great. But let's say that you were the best hider and the one hiding in the room a while ago. And let's say you got up under this cabinet right here and I never saw you. And I went through here and I threw tennis balls or shot everybody in the room. I'm on my way out. I get about right here and your friend calls you. You're right there. And I got you. So what I tell you is to learn today how to put your phone on silent. Okay? Why? Well, I just cut it off. What if you need to use it? What if you need to dial 911 again? Okay? Does anybody want to wait on their iPhone to come back on? Not me. I hate that when it goes off, right? So, have a plan. What if he's determined to get to you? What if you're in, Jenny Jones's class, you're in here hiding in here, and all of a sudden you're like, maybe he'll move on, and you hear, Jenny, I know you're in there, I'm coming in. He's not going on, guys. We better have a plan B. Okay, what is that? What if he starts climbing over the stuff and you go, well, Chance didn't give us anything for that. He just said lock it and that was it. No, I'm going to give you more. We're going to give you more options to try to survive this. Okay, so what's next? You better be ready to make a decision or take action. Okay, start gathering things up. Now, I know I'm losing you here, so stay with me. Start gathering purses, water bottles, computers, iPads, whatever you got. Get them together, set 4 or 5 things together. Then get over behind the table or around the corner or whatever. Get your plan together. And I know some of y'all are thinking, you mean you want me to throw things at a guy with a gun? Does it make sense? Is it better to just hide? What if he wants hostages? If he's shooting guys, he doesn't want hostages. Okay? It's an active shooter situation. We've already proven it's not better to hide. You tried that a while ago. It didn't really work out for you. Okay? It's going to make good sense when we get through this. Okay? The police are on the way. They have to know where to go. Well, I dialed 911. Somebody did. I got an AU alert. But the last call said he ran across the street a moment ago works. But he's still in your building shooting. You think they need to know that? Absolutely. You hear gunshots, you hear a scream, you see them, you better call 911 and tell them. They're coming directly to you now. Okay? Better decisions, better information, and better notifications to the rest of the campus and to your building. Okay? Very important. Now, what does this picture mean to you? What do you think it's saying? How about strength in numbers and teamwork? Okay? This picture, this guy knows he's going down, right? These guys know he's going down too. Kind of like this one right here, right? Is it the guy in the back saying he's going to get us all? No. He's saying he might get George, but we're going to get this guy. He's going to be tasty or whatever, right? So we've got to think about how can we survive. Now, this is where the lawyers, maybe put a little plug in there that, hey, we're not requiring you to do anything. If you want to hide under the table or if you want to try, whatever you can do to survive, hey, it's your decision. I want to give you things that you can use in order to protect yourself should a threatened person, threaten your safety or the safety of others. Do not, like I said earlier, take matters into your own hands and try to go out the door and take care of this person. Okay? You should only consider fighting back or what we call a countering the attack if the person makes it into your safe space or he surprises you and walks in that door and didn't give you any time. In that case, maybe there's something you can do to survive this. Okay? What are we going to do to survive? We're going to stress them out. We're going to distract them. We're going to stress them out. We're going to interrupt their entire plan and not let it play out like that. They think they're going to walk through the door and find y'all hiding under these tables or in the corner. And we're not going to be doing that. Okay? What are we going to do to survive? I need a volunteer. Who wants to be my volunteer? Come on. Somebody on that back row. Somebody, come on. You want to be my volunteer? All right. See, you're going to be kicking yourself now because he's the only one that gets to throw a ball at me today. Okay? So now all y'all are like, man, I could have done that, right? So if you'll go down there, keep walking until I tell you to stop. I'm not going to let you do it close, man. I'm going to let you go. Okay, stop right there. Okay, so if you'll turn and look at me. Okay, Colonel Boyd in the Air Force came up with the idea. He said, in order for him to throw that ball and hit me, he's got to go through the OODA loop. Okay, observe, orient, decide, and act. Okay, he's already observed and oriented where I'm at. Now he sees me, right? He knows exactly where I'm at. So he really has to just go through the decision and the action of it. Okay, so he can throw that ball at me, and when he throws it, I want you to, when you throw it, okay, I want you to hit me right here. You don't have to take my head off, okay? Accuracy is what I'm looking for, right here, okay? Hang on, getting a little aggressive there, okay? So when I say the word now is what I want you to do, okay? But I'm going to slow you down. I'm going to make you observe and orient too. So I'm going to turn you around. All right. Look at the doorknob over there. When I say that word I told you a minute ago, I want you to throw that ball, okay? Now he doesn't know if I'm still standing there, or if I'm sitting on the front row right here, or if I'm in the back of the room, or where I've gone to now. Now! Okay, see? Did you see what he did? When he come around, he goes, observe, orient, and then he threw it high. But he still threw the ball, okay? So we're going to do that again. You put a little more speed on it this next time, okay? But wait on that word, and I'm going to yell it out again, okay, when I want you to do it. So again, I may let him stew a little bit. You know, I may let this last a little bit longer because he really doesn't know where I'm at, what I'm doing, what I'm going to do, or how I'm going to do it, okay? He has no clue, okay? Now, with that, man! What happened to him? You going to throw the ball? What happened when he turned around? What happened to you?
I was stunned.
You were stunned. What come at your head?
There's balls.
Did I yell at you? Yeah. When you turned around and saw all of that coming at you, y'all saw what he did, right? He just froze. And what we call that is we interrupted his OODA loop. Now, in order for him to throw that ball at me again, he's got to start all over again. Observe, orient, decide, act. Think about that. Okay, you can sit down now. If you think about that for a second, remember me telling you to gather stuff? The person walks through the door, and the 20, 30 people in the room all have their things in their hand, and you are the leader in that room, and you go, get him! And every one of y'all start throwing things at his head. Take his head off! Get him! Everybody's screaming and yelling. Is he now stressed out? Oh, yeah. Is he distracted? Oh, yeah. Is his plan working? Absolutely not. He's like this and dodging and ducking because nobody in this room right now, I can prove it to you, nobody in this room is going to let me throw this ball and hit you between the eyes right now, okay? I'm going to hit one of y'all in the eye, between the eyes, and you don't know which one. Every one of y'all are going to duck right now. See y'all ducking and diving? Except this guy. He's too cool, right? Everybody going to move, okay?
Slow reactions.
So every one of your eyes were watching that ball, okay? So it's the same thing with something coming at your head. You're going to react to it. You don't believe the yelling, it works. You know, be in your office 20 years from now. I'm going to say 20 years so you're not at the university. You're in your office and you're sitting there and here comes your coworker to come in and ask you something. What happens when that coworker walks in and you go, hey! What are they going to do? What? You know, they're going to jump and freak out. Think about the reaction of the screaming and yelling coupled with it. Now, that's not all we can do because obviously you're going to eventually run out of things to throw, right? And what are we going to do? We're moving around trying to get out of the way. Stay in your safe area. Do not go after that person, okay? Create distance. If you're outside or you can get out of the door, go. Don't do any of this. Just get away, okay? Only fight back is the last resort. Communicate. This is where it gets important. Remember, you're the only person in the room who's ever had any trainings. All these other people have got to be taught. Okay, guys, put all the furniture up against the door. Quick, get it up there. Get over here. Start gathering stuff. Get things you can throw. This is what we're going to do. A, B, C, D. You got to start telling everybody in the room what you need them to be doing. You get on that side, you get on that side. But the next one is very important, guys. Somebody's got to be on the phone with 911. You're going to have that guy that goes, well, I ain't doing this crap. I'm hiding under the table. Give him the phone. And go, call 911, stay on the phone with him. Y'all get ready. Here he comes. But the next piece is very important, too. If you've got enough people in that room, start getting, get 5 people. You. I want 5 of y'all. You're going to have to take him out. What? The guy's got a gun. But he ain't looking like this, is he? The guy with the gun is like this right here. And now 5 of you are going to hit him. How many of y'all here believe one of y'all in this room by yourself can hit me, take me down, and hold me down effectively? How many of y'all believe 5 of you can? Think about that for a second. We used to go in the jail when we had an unruly inmate who just wanted to fight everybody in the world and just thought he could beat everybody up. We would take our SWAT team. Of course, we didn't have guns in the jail. We'd go in there and we'd look and we'd turn and go, body, right hand, left hand, right arm, leg, right leg, head. And we'd get ready and we'd go in that door. The first person would grab him, go to the ground, and when the other was coming in, they knew they had an arm, and a leg, and a head. And what did we do? We effectively neutralized that person. He was not doing anything. So think about that for a second. He comes through the door. Get in, take his out. Everybody's throwing. The 5 of y'all are close to the door somewhere. You jump up and you hit him hard, I don't care, with a chair, with whatever you got. You know, in one of the videos, Run, Hide, Fight, you see a guy holding the fire extinguisher. He's like, fixing to nail the guy. Whatever you got your hands on, you can get. You hit that person, you put them on the ground. Okay? One on each arm, one on each leg, one on the head, and they are effectively not going anywhere. Okay? We have now scared the crap out of the person. We've disoriented them. We've stressed them. We've got them on the ground. We're going to get the gun out of their hand. I don't care how. Stomp it, take a chair, hit it, beat it, whatever you got to do to get that gun out of his hand. Okay, it's out of his hand, it's laying over there. Okay? Somebody's on the phone telling them where to come. The police are on the way. We got to make a decision. Are we staying or we leaving? There's only one reason in that situation I'm leaving. If I start seeing fire or smelling smoke, we've got to make a run for it. Other than that, the police will be here in 30 seconds probably. They're on the way. Okay? We've got to be prepared. Don't trust the aggressor. But what are we going to do with the gun? It's flying 3 feet away over there. What are we going to do with it? I can tell y'all that the classes I've taught, the top comments I've heard for people were like, I'm going to grab it and I'm going to unload it. And I'm like, okay. Do you know every gun? Probably not. And do you really want a guy in the room or a lady in the room going like this, trying to unload that gun because they are so stressed out of their mind? I don't want to touch it, right? Another one I've heard, I never forget it, it was a judge's secretary in a courthouse I was teaching. And the secretary said, I'm going to tell you what I'd do. I'd pick the gun up and shoot him with it. And I said, well, you know, if you've got him on the ground and you're holding him down and maybe you've even tied him up, you know, if you shoot him now, you know, that may not hold up in a court of law. And the judge said, it would in my courtroom. You know, but the reality of it is, guys, we don't have a right just to execute somebody, right? We've got them tied up, whatever. You know, we need to let the police come deal with it. So the last one, the one I really, you know, I've heard almost every class, is I'm going to pick the gun up and I'm going to hold it on him. And if he starts getting out of this, you know, from people, he's throwing them off of him or whatever, at that point I feel danger and I have the right to defend myself. But here's your problem, okay? You're standing here and holding the gun on him and here come the police in that door. What do they see? A person with a gun in their hand. You're probably going to turn like this, but even if you don't and you're sitting here like this, what is going to happen to you? They're going to shoot you, okay? I had a guy in my class go, oh, no, 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 no. They got to yell, drop the gun first. I said, man, that is Hollywood, okay? Yeah, they're going to yell, drop the gun. But, man, they are stressed out of their minds. They're looking for the guy with the gun, and they just found you holding a gun. Yeah, they're going to yell, drop the gun, but they're going to feel like you're the aggressor. Do you want to take that chance? Okay, so we tell people don't touch the gun unless that person's a threat to you. So what do? We get it away from the person. Don't kick it because it might hit the wall and go off. But get it across the room, shuffle it with your foot or whatever across the room, and then we're going to hide it. What does every room have in it? Usually by the door. How about a trash can? Take the trash can, lay it on top of the gun, sit down on it, and just sit there. Get the two biggest guys in there and go, guard me. Don't let nobody get to me, I got the gun. Well, here come the police. You don't really want to be sitting on a trash can. Because when the police come through the door, do you think they're going to come through the door? Hey, Auburn police, if y'all will, go on and get on the ground for me, let me see your hands. You think that's how it's going to go? No. They're going to come through the door, get on the ground, let me see your hands. If you don't believe it, go watch the videos from Florida. Watch how the officers come in the door. On the ground, let me see your hands. Why are they doing that? They're taking control. They want to see who the bad guys are, who the good guys are, put your hands out, all of that. Okay? So just go on and get on the ground. If you're on the trash can, get down on the ground and hug the trash can. Okay? They know you're not, they're going to shoot you right in the trash can, y'all. They're going to come through the door. When they come through the door and they see you on the ground hugging the trash can, they're not communicating with you. Because when they come through the door, they're trying to take it over. Hey, get on the ground. Let me see your hands. If you are that one that goes, well, let me tell them what's going on. Hey, sir, let me tell you what's going on. That's not going to work out for you, okay? Because they're going to grab you and put you on the ground because you're not complying with what they're saying. However, at Auburn University, if they come through the door in an active shooter situation, and they come in the door, everybody on the ground, and they see you hugging a trash can over there, they immediately know. Trash can! There's a gun under the trash can, and the bad guy's in the room somewhere. And they're going to stop what they're doing, going, where's he at? Where's he at? And they're going to go right to him and they got him. See the difference there in the communication we've established here? It's important that we keep all of these things in mind. Okay? So, never pick it up and use it unless you have to in security. If you're staying in that room, we're going to let the police come and get the gun, get the bad guy on. But what if we got to leave? What if we start smelling smoke and the police haven't got there yet? We're going. We're going to leave the gun in the room with the guy? I'm not. Okay? How are we going to carry it? You going to carry it in your arm or your hand or your back? What you going to do with it? What about the trash can again, guys? Put it in the trash can. Stand in line. Get ready at the door. We're going out the door. So what are we going to do with our hands before we go out the door? What do y'all think? Show me what you do with your hands before you walk out the door. Okay? Hands up, hands out, hands behind your head. I've heard them all, y'all. Hands behind your back. I had one lady in my class that had hands like that. I said, yeah, you've been there before, hasn't it? That's the handcuffing position. But seriously, what do you do with your hands? Nobody really knows, right? Because everybody wants it different. We tell police officers to look at the person. This is the person you don't know. Scan the entire person and find the hands. Why? Hands will kill you. Hands have knives, guns, whatever, right? Find the hands. So, a police officer is going to walk in the door, probably 90% of the time they're going to look at your face, like everybody else would look at your face. So take your hands and spread your fingers completely apart, put them right over your face. What have you now given them when they look at you? Amen, I'm not threatening you. Okay? So you're at the door, you're in charge. Everybody be quiet. Get your hands up like this. Okay, be quiet. And are we going to run out the door? Anybody want to run out that door with the police officers coming down the hallway with their guns drawn? Not me. Okay? So before we go out that door, we're going to announce it. We're going to get ready. Everybody be quiet. We're coming out. What are you going to do if you hear, police, get on the ground? What are y'all going to do? What if it's not the police? Okay, could the bad guy say that? Absolutely. So what we're going to do is, we're coming out. Police, get on the ground. Put your hands out first, out the door. Okay. And look down. Okay, guys, it's the police. Everybody get on the ground. Now you visually inspect it. You know it's the police. What are you going to do? And you yell, we're coming out. And nobody says anything. Okay, guys, we're going on my command on 3. Nobody run. Stay my speed. We're going. 1, 2, 3, go. Boom. Out the door. We're heading down the hallway. We get to another hall. Same thing. We're coming out. Maybe a little faster. We're going down the hallway. Long hallway, whatever. We're headed out the door. And all of a sudden, here come the police in the hallway. What are they going to say to you? I don't know. I know that's terrible to say. But I don't know what they're going to say, because it could be Auburn police. It could be Lee County deputies. It could be state troopers. It could be any law enforcement agency there. And, you know, although we've all trained with some of the best training we've ever had, that I've ever been involved in, at that moment, they may have a different tactic than the next one, or they may decide to say something just slightly different. I can tell you, you may hear, get your hands up. Even though you got your hands up, they're going to say that every time. They may say, get on the ground. They may say, go out that door, come towards me, go up against that wall. If they've really got their stuff going, and they've been through a lot of training, one of the things that I've seen that work well, they may tell you to get up against the wall. Up against the wall! Look away from me. Now you're looking away, you can't see them, and all of a sudden, you're going to have an officer walk up to you and start patting you down. And as he's patting each person, where is he at? How many of them are there? What does he look like? How many guns did he have? What are they doing? They're patting you down for weapons, and they're getting information to help further their mission, right? Then you might hear, get on the ground. They may handcuff you. They may send you out the door. Doesn't matter. Do whatever they say. That's the important piece of this. Whatever they tell you to do, you do. Okay? And go. Okay? What this comes down to, every bit of this training, everything I've talked about today, every scenario that I've come down to comes down to being able to make a decision. Okay? If you have never thought about this, if you've never taken a class like this before, you're going to freeze. You're going to panic, and you're not going to know what to do. As big and as bad as you think you are, I have to plan for everything I do. Okay? I know exactly how I'm going to drive home. I know exactly what I'm going to do if something happens. I think through scenarios. I don't obsess over it. I probably do, but I shouldn't. You don't have to obsess over it. Just think about it one time in your life. What am I going to do in these situations? So one of the common questions I get a lot of times from students is, what am I going to do if I'm in a lockdown situation? I barricaded the door, and I'm not letting anybody in, and all of a sudden I get that, police, open the door. What are you doing? Anybody want to guess? One of the ladies at Sandy, one of the teachers at Sandy said, slide your badge and ID under the door. Okay? Badge and ID, guys. Okay? Can anybody in the room tell me what an Auburn police badge looks like? Can anybody in the room tell me what an Auburn ID card looks like? No. So what good is that? Sliding under the door. You look at it and go, that looks real to me. But they bought it on eBay, and that's the bad guy outside the door trying to get you to open the door. Okay? Or they took it off an officer, or they took it out of an officer's car, or stole it from somewhere, right? It doesn't make good sense, does it? They asked this question to me at the medical clinic, and I had been kind of formulating some ideas, and I'd come up with one that I thought was pretty good. So I actually told them, I answered the question in the medical clinic when we were training them a few years back. This is what I think you should do, okay? The problem is I forgot to tell the police what we told them, okay? Now, it was good and bad. A couple of weeks later, we did a training exercise in which we actually had the employees there go into lockdown, barricade the doors, and here come the police. They get the bad guy, and they go through the building and check every room. Well, I was filming. I had a reflective vest on. I'm going around filming, and one of the sergeants looks at me and says, "Hey, Chance, what do we do?" And I turn the corner, and there's 3 officers on one door trying to get in this door. They cannot get in that door, okay? I said, "Guys, I'm not here. I'm filming." And I just kind of smiled at them. They went, "Go get the crowbar." I went, "Okay, I'm back. Don't tear the door." Okay, that's what you would do. Yeah, we'd probably have to pry it open, get in there. We'd do what we had to do. I said, "Okay." All of a sudden, the training kicked in for the employee. And you heard her inside say, "I tell you what I'd do if this was a real situation." And I said, or the officer said, "Okay, what would you do?" And she said, "I'd dial 911 and ask him if you're real." And he said, "Do it then." And he picked his radio up, and he knew it was coming. And all of a sudden, Auburn units in the medical clinic. Go ahead. "Can you confirm you're outside a storage room? Da 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 da." Guys, come on, let's meet. And the door opens up. She comes on out. Okay? That officer liked that so much that every room he got to that he couldn't get into, you could hear him going, "Hey, dial 911 and ask him if I'm real." It was hilarious. But you know, that's a great way because you really can't fake a 911 call. And they're going to get on the radio and they're going to confirm that's that person before they open that door. Okay? Everything I've talked about tonight again is trying to give you options to make decisions. And I want you to be serious about it. I want you to think about it every once in a while, just for a second in your life. There are resources we put out here. I'm going to let you ask questions and things like that too. There are resources we put out here like bullet points. We put out a lot of social media stuff. Brooke in the back of the room taking pictures does all of our social media and gets the stuff out for you about the classes and things like that. But you know, at the end of the day, we're here to help you. We want to help you with anything, any questions you have, and training requests or anything. Does anybody have any questions of me? No dumb questions, y'all. Okay. I usually get 5 or 6, so if I don't have any, that's fine. What I will tell you is one more thing. There's a video out there. If y'all got a few minutes, I've got 3 minutes still. If y'all got time to watch it, fine. If you don't, you can leave. I'm going to play this video. We made this video back. I think we released it the last one in 2013. We're actually in the process of revising it now. It's a very good video. You can go to YouTube.com. You can type in the search bar Auburn University Active Shooter Video, and you can play it at your church, at your home, for your family and friends. My kids have watched it. My family's watched it. But I'm going to play it for you right here and let you watch it. If you can't find that link or have any problems, just email campussafety@auburn.edu and we'll send you the link so you can watch it as well.
It's on our social accounts and it's on the university app under emergency guidelines.
So there you go. Okay, so I'm going to play it when this is over. Class is over. You can go home. It's literally 2 or 3 minutes till now. So, all right. It probably ain't going to have any audio. I didn't think about that. So it ain't going to really matter if I play it or not. So we're going to try it anyway. What we'll do is, we're going to see if it's not going to work. So what we'll do is we'll make sure we get this link out in our social media site. We have done a slight revision on it since it's the one that was out there before. I don't know what it's doing now, PowerPoint. So we'll get it out there to you. Again, go to YouTube. No audio. No audio. This is what it looks like when it comes on. You'll see it when you see it on YouTube. You'll see a bunch of kids hiding in the classroom up there, the second one there. Please watch that video. Show it to your family. Show it to your friends, everybody you can. I think it's a good training piece for you. It's something you can watch 5 years from now and remember this entire class. So, all right. Any questions at all for me? I'm sorry about the AV stuff, guys. I have no idea. We tested it like moments before y'all started arriving and it worked fine. But y'all are the second thing we have taught in this class. We just renovated this entire building, added on. The space you're in is only, a month old probably. This is our Emergency Operations Center. The space you're in right now is where the university manages operations. It is in a sheltered area that can withstand tornadoes. So it is in the place that we want to be at during severe weather or whatever the threat is. So, do you have a question?
Yeah, so if there's like 200 people calling 911 at one time, is there an alternate to 911?
No, 911 typically will not be busy. It'll roll over. Okay, if it is busy and you have something critical, just keep calling. If there's 200 people calling, hopefully they're getting good information, okay? What we're more worried about is you sitting in this room right now and you hear something and everybody going, somebody must have called. So if somebody in your immediate area doesn't call, somebody needs to call. But at the same time, 5 of you in the same room don't need to be calling, okay? It's a good question. You cannot text 911. That is a feature that will probably be there one day. There's a tip line, but we don't want you doing that. We'd rather you dial 911. If you can't say anything, simply dial 911, put your phone down, they're listening. I promise you they're listening, and they're immediately sending people to where you're at. If you want to get really creative, go, why are you on the 2nd floor of Haley doing this? Now they know exactly where you're at. Yeah, they can tell the building you're in, but typically they're not exactly the exact location in there. So, all right, any other questions? All right, thank y'all for coming. I hope it was worth your time. Thank you.
Can't believe it, they don't play it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.